Now we're going live. Greetings and welcome all to another open mic article where, as per usual, with a whole line that is hypothetically amusing, a regular reminder reality is more absurd than you can imagine, which is true, because humanity's arrogance is extraordinary, and that we all constantly think that everything has been discovered, explored, and is perfectly known and sensible, which is complete and utter bullshit. In all contexts, honestly, we don't need to mention things of the SB Foundation, the forum, the wikis, and all that. We don't need to, really. Reality itself is already more absurd and complex than anyone can rationally compile into their own stupid noggins, so it's a bit of a side point, really. So, greetings, everyone, including Creator Bob, who's not actually watching but left a message, the best Remy, K-Shul, and Snoopy S100 thus far. If anyone else is in chat and wants to reveal themselves, I dare you. And otherwise, in the call, we are joined by Alan Smith, Angry Frobin, Franz, Final Blackout, and of course, thus far I have never been high. Not by classical standards anyway. Yes, real Miss Steam, you're here too. I know it. No! But also we've been joined by, let's see, Tizuhauha. Well, he is the best sci-fi ever. Yes, it is. Well, I wouldn't say best. I mean, there's some really quality science fiction. Reality is pretty mediocre, but suffice to say there's a lot more to it than we're aware of, and I think we'd be too... Never mind. Yes, I'm sure all of steampunk Victorian London just bows to our will. Just 1 second. Okay, we're good. So, to start with, we have a special request by Froman, who has just... Well, not just, requested about an hour ago, and here we go. Taco Stanzia, greetings. You should have a wrench. You throw money at me. I should at least buy a wrench that you shouldn't do anything with. Which would be appreciated if you do anything with it. Just because everyone else has a wrench, and I try to encourage them not to do anything with it either. There are a few occasions where using a wrench is apt, and that is mostly where someone's just absolutely spamming up the chat and they should know better, really. But, greetings! Starting, it turns out all those woke white allies are lying! This goes to Michael Harriot, writing for The Root. If you aren't familiar with Michael Harriot, just imagine a colossal fucking racist. Imagine, if you will, a grand dragon writing for the Stormfront or something more socially appropriate, and then just call it The Root. And there you go. You swap out the words, and off you go. Pretty much. Look, they name themselves after a D&D monster manual. What the fuck do I care what correct label they apply to themselves? No! I don't respect racists or labels they apply to themselves no matter what. I don't care what colors they're adhering to. It's all cosmically arbitrary and they are retards. I'm sorry. You can't say that word. I'd be demonetized if I monetized at all. Mentally disabled. They're all mentally disabled. Because racism is a brain disease. It really is, ultimately. From Michael Harriot, who is absolutely a satire author, except for the fact that he is tragically sincere, we have, it turns out all his work, white allies were lying. Probably because they weren't actually black. It turns out that they had the wrong skin color and their... That's pretty much how they view it, actually, I'm pretty sure. Moving forward. We in the country collectively witnessed the brutal May 25th, 2020 death of George Floyd. White people were forever changed. Millions took to the streets arm in arm with their fellow brethren, offering their support for justice and equality. Corporations changed their policies. Individuals joined the movement to prove their commitment. Companies pledged billions to the struggle for racial equity. This multiracial outpouring of sympathy and solidarity transformed the country. And then white people went home and kept being white. I don't know why that should be. Oh, wait, no, I know what that should be.
About one bit of technical issue.
Technical difficulties.
Proud of you, Ark.
It happens.
A lot.
But
Thank you for informing us that you weren't hearing the rest of them. Now you're hearing the rest of them. Feel free to introduce yourselves individually as you see fit. Now.
Your mom gay.
I have very typical of you.
Hi, I'm Franz.
I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Miss Steam. I'm your beloved dictator, and this is the thing. Today we be having the open mic article, Wade.
Head desking is more effective if you're actually like facing the desk. It should be in the same direction as the camera. It gives a more third-dimensional view of things.
I'm sure it does.
But yes, I love that line.
But the desk is important. Sir, hypothetically, I am not necessarily in the best of moods, but we're going to roll through that. And just relish, embrace, and revel in what is Michael Harriot's The Root Drivel, aka if the Grand Wizard saw fit to swap out colors. I'm sorry, did I get it right that time, Frumin? Grand Dragon, Grand Wizard, honestly, I'm not familiar with the correct titles here. I want to get it right, Frumin, because I care so deeply, Frumin.
You did get the racist titles right.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Brings a whole new layer of meaning to Harry Potter.
And because, I'm live here, I want to say greetings to Steam, Franz, Fruman, Alan Smith, and that's it, really. And, of course, everyone in chat, who I hope they already caught. Look, time is slipping away, and we have 50 minutes. Arcturus! Oh! Oh! Snoopy in 100. We're going to focus back on the article. That's what we do in every SB stream. Focus. That's the secret to getting through anything. Focus.
So just reread that last line for.
And then people went home and kept being white.
Oh dear, that's not acceptable, is it?
So I'm
just
just
take a moment
curious.
So blackface?
It's a very special line scheme. And just swap out white with absolutely any other color and or nationality even, and try to pretend that doesn't make you sound like a complete fucking retard. I'm sorry. Mentally disabled.
And then French people went back home and kept being French.
Indeed. How dare they? French people going back home and staying French. Why didn't they
And then
become
furries
English?
went home and kept being furries.
Indeed, Steam. How dare they? How dare they?
And then mascots went home and kept being mascots.
Blobby, blobby,
Those
blobby, blobby.
monsters.
Don't you dare use blobby
No.
against me, you
No,
heathen!
look.
Do you have a problem with Blobby?
I tried to embrace using Mr. Blobby as a weapon against Steam, and that was fun for as long as I could tolerate it. But at this point, I have to say that, strictly speaking, Mr. Blobby is basically a weapon against us both. I mean, that's just
Ah,
wrong.
wonderful.
it's wrong.
Mr. Blobby is biological warfare.
Do you not let me post a picture of him?
I think
Mr. Blobby is an existential monster that I don't think we fully grasped the depth of. One day, when humanity has achieved a society that is no longer resource dependent, we have, trail replicators, and human society revolves around exploring the stars, we'll still live in fear of Mr. Blobby.
Blobby, blobby, blobby.
Oh my god.
No, it's just wrong. Everything is wrong about it. Everything is wrong about it.
everything you know is wrong.
It's just... Okay, moving on. And then white people went home and kept being white. And this harsh realization is not an opinion, it's a factual statement. Well, no fucking wonder, you idiot. This observation is not an opinion, it's a factual statement. Well, of course it is! Look, no one does a thing, goes back home, and their skin color is a new hue. That doesn't happen unless they went to the
Rachel
tanning
Dolezal.
fucking booth!
Rachel Dolezal.
What it's saying is, I need to get coal and smother myself in it to stop being racist.
Yes.
Should I wear a fake
I want to
Afro
stress that if I ever encounter Richard Harriot, I will punch him in the throat, and it will have absolutely nothing to do with his skin color, but rather my regard for his intellect as a person. Okay, moving on.
Well, that's not hard.
This hospitalization is not an opinion, it's a factual statement, based on the research and analysis of multiple organizations, or possibly using your own eyes. And before we get into the not all white people part of the conversation, you racist fuck, let's be clear, the reports are based on studies that show the vast majority of white people didn't just not do anything. According to stuff like math and science, the levels of white support are lower than they were before demonstrations of the country last summer. Well, maybe it might have something to do with that. Look, you know why. If you've done any research at all regarding the whole Floyd situation, you know why support is lower. It's because the facts did not support the propaganda. That's why.
It was
Hey,
probably
I'm
all
not
those.
a racist. I have slaves of all different races.
It was probably all those peaceful protests.
Greetings, Green Badger Outdoors, and also screw you, message redacted. This is
proud of you,
absolutely
champ.
the angry stream. I am going to embrace it. I'm going to roll with it. This is the angry stream. I'm going to... I don't hate humanity. I just hate a whole lot of people that are part of it.
Yeah, I hate everyone here.
It's okay, I hate everyone as well.
I don't hate any of you.
Well, I'm a dictator. I have to hate. So.
Hate is your food.
Greetings, oh sir, I'm so glad to see you. And did I just, evil. Moving on. This conversation on opinion. The comment is, and then white people went home and kept being white. That's not just my opinion. That is, look, I know you realize that this line here is absurd in its own right, but the fact that follow-up, this conversation is not opinion, is just as absolutely brain-hurtingly absurd as the previous. It's a factual statement based on the research. No, it's a factual statement also about the fact that you...
If you like this stream and this freak out, please donate below and I will jiggle for his torture.
No. If you
Yes,
want to donate
please.
to support the stream
Please.
and the streams in general, I appreciate it. I do. But not for Steam jiggling their boobs. They're doing that just to make me into a pip. I resent it. I will put up the no jiggle shield. See if I don't.
Support the
I'll
show.
the jiggle shield.
16 minutes. Oh, that's one article. I just can't finish it because... And then white people went home and kept being white.
And then
Harriet! You absolute cultural whore!
You just described yourself.
No, don't you dare. Aaron Smith.
No, I'm the whore in this show.
No, neither is Real Steam, although they might enjoy it. No. No one here is remotely as loathsome as Richard Harriet. It has absolutely nothing to do with his skin tone, unlike his view, by which we are all horrible monsters because of our skin tone. And that's why he's a vile piece of shit.
It's because I'm black,
I kill
isn't
everyone
it?
equally.
Well, it's because he's black and we're not, and therefore he thinks that he's a super virtuous good person trying to lead the only humanity that matters to a brighter future. And we're all, of course, vile monsters trying to drag the only people that matter down.
That's called being a prick.
Among other things, yes. Among other things. Let's hold on. According to stuff like math and science, which I'm pretty sure Richard Harriet doesn't understand, the levels of white support are lower than they were before demonstrations swept the country last summer. For instance, remember those corporations who pledged to donate money to social justice organizations? Well, it turns out that the companies employed a very complex loophole called lying like a motherfucker to get out of actually doing what they said they would. Good for them! Because social justice is itself a lie! You are frauds led by racists. Why would no one... According to a review of pledges compiled by Creative Investments Research, businesses have donated less than 1% of the money promised. Good! American corporations have pledged to spend $50 billion on racial equities and send George Floyd's murder. Reports Financial Times. The funds were to be spread between donations to civil rights organizations, target investments in communities of color, and overhauls of their internal recruitment and training programs. Yet only about $250 million has actually been spent or committed to a specific initiative, according to analysis by a research consultant firm. Only $250 million. Those poor souls. Only $250 million.
I'm worth more than that.
Most assuredly.
And 2 bits.
In a review of transcripts of investors' meetings with earnings calls, Centio noted a tenfold increase in mentions of quote-unquote systemic racism and quote-unquote Black Lives Matter before it returned to previous levels. And while many of these companies promised increased diversity and inclusion, less than 1/3 of America's largest companies bother to even look at the disparities in how they paid employees of different races. Just Capital reports. Okay, I understand there are like 3 different laws that prevent discrimination based on skin tone. So if anyone is actually being paid a lower sum of money for their skin tone, that's a good lawsuit. You should consider contacting a lawyer. I think they might take that pro bono. The law is hypothetically on their side. Moving on. In fact, many agree to diversity training but refuse to release data on employed demographics or pay equity. I think they might not pay their employees equal sums. They might pay certain people more than they pay others. And of course it's racism. In any case, it's not like all the Negroes in America pulled up to Wall Street and demanded money and equality. The corporations volunteered these last. But it isn't just the nameless faceless corporations who do this. Recent poll numbers show that the support of Black Lives Matter has severely declined. Despite the litany of evidence, May 21 PBS NewsHour/NPR/Marist poll insinuates that most people still don't believe that black people are treated differently by law enforcement officers. Well, I certainly do. But when analysis examines the data, it shows ethnic minority support for the movement and for other key indicators of racial justice are higher than they were before George Floyd's death. However, white people's support has declined to levels lower than they were a year ago. It's a real puzzler.
Maybe because
Actually, as a whole, I'm finding this rather heartening. I'm feeling a bit better right now.
the rage helps.
Well, look, if they're not supporting Black Lives Matter, then I suppose the Black Lives Matter founders might not be able to buy their fourth house in a predominantly white LA suburb. Oh no, what a shame. How tragic. If that sounds a bit unfair, look it up. We'll move on. The New York Times reports, after Mr. Floyd's death, Republicans reported much stronger support for Black Lives Matter than they had earlier in 2020. Yeah, I'm sure they were lying. Why shouldn't they? For a party often characterized by its racial insensitivity and antagonizing towards minorities, this increase in support was striking, but perhaps more striking is its rapid decline. Why should it be striking if it's in rapid decline if you think they're lying in the first place? If you think they're lying in the first place, a rapid decline would be pretty much expected. We observe a similar trend when we separate the data by racial group. Like other racial groups, white Americans were more supportive of BLM following Mr. Floyd's murder. This sentiment, however, didn't last long, as with Republicans, support eventually plunged. Maybe they looked into the facts. This movement among Republicans and white Americans helps us understand why accurate support for Black Lives Matter has waned since last summer. Look, how many articles do you read where they make us stress a point of the skin color of certain Americans in the country? How often do they do that? Do they ever refer? How often do they refer to Black Americans? Is it remotely comparable? Is it even commensurate with census data? Is it? Is it?
No idea.
But that's-
See, you can't win with these people because I've followed their diversity quota. I have just the same amount as white people, Asian people, and black people. But for some reason, they keep complaining. Oh, but they're slaves. So what? I met the diversity quota. I don't know what they want from me.
So justice, gasoline, and unnecessary dumpster fire. That's about right. And so is that real estate. Wow. I am just absolutely pisting away time and doesn't seem to be resulting in positive results. So I should probably focus on just getting through this and onto some happier topic rather than ranting angry. That's not what people are here for. They're not here for me being angry. They're here for me trying to dissuade them from being angry. I think. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing here at all. I just keep doing it anyway because it's part of the schedule.
Just here because I'm attention whore.
Well, hypothetically, that's where I'm here too. If we're all, this is getting grim. Okay, let's try to keep this happier. However, there's an easy explanation for how this happens. Kim Kardashian's cornrows, white women voting for Trump, wedge heels. It was a fad. White people love black people like they love TikTok dances and acid-washed jeans. And liberty and justice for all. Have you never seen a white woman cry on cue or a Democrat campaigning in a black barbershop? You really believe that shit? Even after the most white people in history of America voted for a white nationalist authoritarian? History teaches us that white America loves to be seen as good, well-meaning people who say they believe in shit. But there has never been a single moment in the history of this country where the majority... Screw it, that's it. We're done with Michael Harriot's bullshit. I lost my genitalia at war. This is how I have sex.
Audio clipped.
Yeah, I lost my genitalia, some genitalia in the war too.
Yeah, now she's only 14 inches.
No one needed to know.
Normal ejaculation looks one way, but I ejaculated a bunch of blood, and it was scary as hell.
Ejaculating blood's just common here.
I skip ahead trying to find some lighter tone, trying to get away from Michael Harriot's racist bullshit propaganda. This is...
Yeah, I can't find anything.
Honestly, we're more honestly here. If we're more concerned if you don't ejaculate blood here. It's not the norm.
She keeps a bucket.
Well, then again, black lungs are common as dirt, so.
In your world.
Yeah, my world.
On September 7th, 2011, Aaron Calsey, an explosive ordnance disposal expert of the United States Army, responded to a call about a suspicious item while on deployment in Afghanistan. The item, he realized as he approached, was not a bomb, it was a decoy, except that anyone responding to it would trigger a nearby improvised explosive device. When it went off, the IED destroyed his legs and portions of his hands and studded his shoulders with metal shrapnel. It also ripped into his scrotum, leaving him with only 2/3 of one testicle and functionally no ability to produce testosterone. As he recovered, he and Kat Calsey, whom he married a year before his injury, realized the limitations presented by his injury and the loss of sex drive from his lack of testosterone would change his sex lives forever. This is not helping me climb out of the depression, the racist propaganda-induced depression that has resulted. This is from Vice, another source of complete bullshit propaganda.
Listen, you can easily replace some of your genitalia with modern-day machinery. Yes, your pubic hair might catch fire sometimes, but there's a price to pay.
See,
or you just keep shaving.
Her model specifically spews motor oil, which is, it helps with the lube.
That's true.
I don't reveal knowing anything further on this point, so I'm just going to move on.
Well,
In the
I'm just
past.
saying, if I start smoking, that's the day I should be shaving.
So, like, every few hours?
No, every few days.
I'm just intensely grateful for the lack of smell-o-vision.
Oh, it doesn't smell that bad. Smells like a Californian sushi place.
In the past, war wounds like Aaron's were uncommon, as the trajectory of bullets and shrapnel were likely to hit soldiers' upper torsos or heads and their groins. As groups like the Taliban expanded the use of IEDs to inflict maximum damage against their opponents, And as field medicine advanced to help soldiers survive major injuries like Aaron's, the number of soldiers coming in with general injuries skyrocketed. According to one study, at least 1,500 Americans in wars in the Middle East sustained genital wounds from 2005 to 2017. Many of these injuries occurred between 2009 and 2011, as America initiated a surge in soldiers deployed to and actively patrolling Afghanistan. In 2010, almost 13% of the war wounds Americans sustained involved their genitals, compared to 2 to 5% in the prior wars. At least a third of these injuries were classified as severe. Some called this war signature wound. General injuries have lessened among American soldiers. Why am I reading this shit?
Is there anything else?
Because Froman sent it to you.
I did not send that to him, but you know, this is the culmination of your life experiences leading you to this point.
Lie detected.
I never sent this article to you. I threw it in the rage pages, but I never sent it to you.
Okay. From no one whatsoever, I'm a little person, my husband is average height. This is how we have sex. No one sent me this article. I knew I could trust him because I was just a woman he knew. He wasn't there for the novelty factor.
That's funny. That's funny. Midgets think they're people.
Average height people have historically treated little people like curiosities, yet while average statured people often cast little people, who are also sometimes referred to as dwarfs or people of short stature.
sorry?
What the fuck else would they be referred to as?
I'm sorry, Blackout.
Don't you bring me into this. No. No.
We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild. Look,
This bullying?
Look, Vice is trying to suggest that their way of referring to them as little people, well, that's good. Little people love to be referred to as little people, but how dare they be referred to as dwarfs or people of short stature?
But they are dwarfs.
Midget is a legal term.
Apparently that's offensive, I'm guessing, because they didn't use that term at all. Okay, let's try this again. Yet, while average statured people often cast little people, who are also sometimes referred to as dwarfs or people of short stature, as undesirable, this stigma is often tinged with sensationalized interest in how sex works for them and what sex with them might be like. I think Vice is projecting.
What, because they have very small penises?
Loompa, Loompa, take that, you bitch. You're a fucking whore, now suck on my dick.
Okay.
So that's the Lollipop Guild.
Yeah.
It is hard to generalize about little people's sexual experiences because short stature results from hundreds of conditions, each one unique and some barely understood. The most common cause of short stature, being short, apparently, because they're not making a distinction between short people and midgets. It's, if you're short, the genetic condition apparently is achondroplasia. So if you're short, you apparently have achondroplasia. Sympathies, I guess. Because they're not making a distinction here. Your cause of short stature is a genetic condition called achondroplasia. These, for example, often leads people to develop average-sized torsos, shorter than average limbs, and larger than average heads, as well as curved spines and back pain, bowed legs, and stiff elbows. That doesn't sound like short stature. I know a lot of short people who are not built like that at all. It's almost like you're full of shit, Vice. But we knew this. I shouldn't.
Well, just
Clearly
look
this
at
is-
Blackout.
Welcome to the Angry Stream. I'm Director of Arketer. I'm clearly angry. We're moving on. Growth hormone deficiencies can cause short stature as well, but people with this condition will have uniformly smaller than average body parts. They will also usually hit puberty far later than the peers of average height do and often experience osteoporosis among other complications. Other conditions that cause short stature... You timid sacks of shit. Sorry. Can lead to breathing complications, lower body paralysis, and or vision or hearing impairments among other potential complications. Each condition has its own implications for little people's sex lives. I'm sure little people love being referred to as little people. They must love how often they're being referred to as little people and being called just short.
I think someone's a little bit.
I think it's less offensive to just call them Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, but they don't have orange faces.
It might be less offensive as a whole because they might be able to laugh at that. Just being called short must really kind of piss them off.
You can shove their face in curry powder and they'll have orange faces.
Honestly, if I could qualify for being called a dwarf, I would embrace it. Those bastards are tough.
Just grew a big long beard.
Yeah, grow a beard? Hell, don't have a beard. But if you're called a dwarf, the lore is there to suggest that you shouldn't be screwed with at all. Embrace being a dwarf. Dwarves are tough.
Just don't toss them.
No.
Why not? Tossing them's fun.
Look, don't toss them unless they volunteer to be tossed. It's all about consent, you know. It's all about consent. Legolas did not toss Gimli without his consent.
You offer them enough money and they'll fucking do it.
In fact, Gimli requested that Legolas toss him. That's the important distinction. Toss dwarves only with consent, because if you toss them against the consent, provided they survive being thrown, they're going to gut you.
With a really big
That's why I
axe.
pay them first before I toss them. Okay, it's only like 5 shillings, but still.
There are a huge variety of
Huge.
conditions that can result in diminutive stature. There's primordial dwarfs. There's a lot of dwarfs, actually. And that's fine, really. But they're not, I'm pretty sure. It sounds like short people is a bit of a overgenerality personally, but moving on. But in most cases, sex is no more physically complex for little people than it is for people of average stature. The biggest barriers for little people are effects of demonization, which can manifest in isolation and self-esteem issues. You know, reportedly, the set of The Wizard of Oz, the Lollipop Guild that I referenced earlier, was basically a midget orgy because they hadn't met so many people suffering from the same conditions. They kind of went hog wild. I don't blame them for the record.
Hello, Lord Moist.
What? What?
Moisky Live. Jiggles and Twerkman.
Oh! Well, that'd be very alarming if that were a
get
Megon,
one
but it's...
I'm pretty
It's
sure
not
it's
a Megon.
a different name.
And Megon already has a wrench, so whoever this is, it's not... I don't hear the screaming in my head. It's not quite the same.
No, Moisky Live is a Megon. It's just a different account.
I don't hear the
Let's give it
screaming in my
life.
head at present. Are you sure?
Yes, it's his live stream account. Moisky Live is his live stream account.
Oh.
Why do they get Gucciana moist whenever he appears?
Solved. Moving on.
Someone's
The fact that
just
people
lost
of
its
average
red
stature...
hubcap.
Give it 2 minutes.
Look, there's no twerking taking place here. I have the Octoham Mark II. It may look absurd.
But there is.
It may look like I'm a...
That one's a freebie.
Thank you very much.
May look like I'm
Hey,
abusing a
Nick.
walk. But it works. And that's the important part. Our Megan Online Politics channel. Okay.
Gillen.
Look. There may be jiggling, although not if I can help it. But there would definitely not be twerking because I've taken precautions. Greetings, Megan. So, honored that you could visit. There are some indications the sexual stigmas that cause... Why? I don't... I'm done with this article. Moving on. We're both blind. This is how it affects our sex life. Who cares? I have Tourette's and he's on the autism spectrum. Here's how he has... Oh, I see.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
And they're all from Vice.
They're all
They're
from
all
the
from
same
Vice.
author.
From the same author, and I suspect this one might have peculiar relevance.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, what?
I have Tourette's and he's on the autism spectrum. Here's how we have sex. We take showers together, we touch, we kiss, we sleep together, we hold each other, we meow like cats. This feels familiar. I think I've done this before.
You were at one of Steam's orgies?
No, he never goes to my own orgies. He thinks he's too good for that.
That's what it sounds like.
I warn people away from that. I'm not about to show up myself. If I ever showed up myself... Illustration by Hunter French and Catherine Virginia. With a Y.
You know, he doesn't even have the courtesy to give a basket full of fruits and dildos. You know, like condolences, I can't join or anything like that. He's too rude for that.
How uncivilized.
Yeah, very uncivilized.
Someday I'll remember to
Chivalry is
tell
dead.
an
Absolutely barbaric.
assistant to just ship back a fucking pallet of cucumbers. Welcome to
you know,
industry.
aubergines, bananas, like eggplants, bananas, cucumbers, pickles.
I am Director of Arketer. I am not mad, but I am pretty cross right now. Never mind. When people with no developmental disorders that affect their social communication capabilities, like Paul and Grace, an older couple who respectively have Asperger's syndrome and autism spectrum disorder, and Tourette syndrome, and some related problems with focus and impulse control, talk about their sex lives, it can make outsiders, even doctors and family members, feel uncomfortable. Look, how many people do you know in your day-to-day life who are happy to hear about all of your sexual exploits?
It's called narcissism.
You know, 2, 3 people, 4? Does your grandma like to hear about who you fucked recently?
No comment.
Does your
Everyone
mom?
likes to-
Your mom
That's what
does.
Everyone likes to know what I fuck and how I fuck.
Yeah, I look. I
The-
hear
the
you regularly
what
talking
concerns
about
me.
that, and I'm uncomfortable. I'm
The
uncomfortable
what
right now.
concerns me. What? Don't you
So
mean who?
That's why she does that.
Oh, I don't care if you're uncomfortable. It makes me happy.
I know.
Exactly.
This is why I try to maintain a poker face, but I can't maintain it. But I just want to stress, these idiots' advice are saying can make outsiders, even doctors and family members, feel uncomfortable with links leading to it. So, duh! Moving on. Megon has confirmed that a Megon is Megon. I don't know. I don't want to know what SEX stands for because he put periods between the two. That implies an acronym, and I'm horrified by the.
You know, from my
Potential
understanding,
eventualities.
there has to be a period between sex, like at least on the male part.
Many such people assume that the communication issues, conditions like these pose should desexualize those with him, that they simply wouldn't or shouldn't pursue physical intimacy. Many such people, who, just because your grandma doesn't want to hear about who you've been fucking recently doesn't mean they won't want grandchildren or don't want you to be satisfied personally. They just don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it.
The walk is reverberating a little bit.
Too bad. It saves me from trying to twerk on camera, and that's not happening again without a fairly sizable contribution financially.
So, what you're saying is I shouldn't talk about my sexual escapades yesterday, or this morning, or this afternoon.
I don't want to comment because whatever I suggest, you will take the worst interpretation of. So I will say I will neither conform nor deny that I really don't want that to happen.
I think I saw your legs extend for just a second there.
Yep. Oh, well, Megan's making sure it falls off you.
People with ASDs may find it difficult to understand others or communicate their own wants and needs in some contexts. Hey, fun fact. That's true of absolutely fucking everyone. Just noting. In some contexts, they might struggle with nonverbal cues, abstract language, or social norms like those around personal boundaries for adjusting to others' needs. These potential communication barriers can lead outsiders to worry that people with ASDs might struggle with navigating the complexities of physical intimacy and end up getting hurt. Well, here's my advice to those outsiders. Worry about your own fucking business. Absolutely no one here has any reason whatsoever to worry about how other people fuck. Does anyone challenge me on this?
I can't.
Steam, when was the last time your crotch caught on fire?
2 days ago.
See, there's why you should be concerned.
I wear pants in British context and otherwise, Orla. For the record. Sue's got $100 to make. No, best for me. It's not $100. You want to add a zero? No, you want to add a 0 and 500 US to that. Although I might need to adjust that because at present American dollar is due to inflate dramatically and thus decrease dramatically in value, making everyone in America poor, so I should probably raise that price quite sharply if I want to do anything with the blood money that would result from such behavior. Okay. Now I'm no longer angry, now I'm just depressed.
Welcome to my world.
Tourette's, Forts.
Affecting people.
Tourette's, for its part, is characterized by physical and verbal tics that can only be suppressed temporarily and often with great and distracting effort and discomfort. In rare cases, these tics can include involuntary sexual comments or actions like groping someone else without consent. No.
Only
That
now.
explains a lot. I mean, what?
No. I don't know. Look, cursing randomly, I get. Groping someone randomly, not so much.
Would that mean that blowing off steam has Tourette's?
I don't think it counts if you're just groping
confidential
yourself.
in the O'Hara Foundation records, but yes.
Some cases of Tourette's co-occur with symptoms and other conditions like attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, or obsessive compulsive disorders, which can cause attention and learning issues as well as socially inappropriate behaviors. Outsiders looking at these symptoms may worry that they will make it uniquely difficult for people with Tourette's to communicate communicate clearly and fluidly in sexual situations for which no one else needs to worry about it. Mr. Blobby has donated $5 to say, Blobby, Blobby!
I'm not jiggling for that one.
I
Well,
appreciate
she'll
that
run
in
away.
context.
She's gonna
Oh,
run
it's
away
you.
soon, so she's gonna have to jiggle for it.
God fucking
I may
damn it.
make
Yay!
a lovely
Running
film.
a fuck
And she
away.
fucked off. And she fucked off somewhere
Running-
else.
I'm running the fuck away. Fuck this shit.
This is really boring for a Vice article. We never should go on. I lost half my penis to Ken, so this is how I have sex! I'm
This guy
RK.
seems to have a bit of a obsession with sex.
This is their job, to care about how other people fuck.
I say he needs a better job.
I lost half my penis to cancer. This is how I have sex. The first thing I noticed was absolute lack of sensation. So apparently he lost the important part of the dick. Not all men are born with penises.
Yes we are. That's where we're men.
In the grand majority of cases, this is surely true. Technically they're right. I'm sure biology is messy. Some people have been born, I'm sure, with no dicks whatsoever.
That's called
And that's ripe material for insulting my peers, and I'm awfully tempted, but I'm going to refrain. And the penis is not the center of every man's gender identity or sexual life, says someone who hypothetically is missing over half their dick. Plenty of men get as much, if not more, pleasure out of prostate stimulation or other often neglected erogenous zones than they do out of their penises, and so focus their sexual play there. Okay? This is how we do it, a series about sex and stigma. How many... I don't care from it. Maybe I could embrace this better if I wasn't now almost critically depressed.
Ugh, imagine a life without a dick. I'd rather shoot myself.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I'm so proud of him to deal with the injury of. not
The
having a dick.
screw-on attachments don't count, Steam!
They count.
See, his dick might be cancer, but at least it's real.
Just because you never made a woman orgasm doesn't mean I can't. I would say the women I've fucked beg to differ.
I really need a Mark 3 sometime soon. I keep forgetting that. Okay, moving on. A few men choose to have their penises removed, not as part of a transition in their gender identities, but because they are not comfortable with their members, instead focusing on other parts of their bodies or minds as sites of their masculine entities and of erotic pleasure. That's a link. I'm not touching it. I would disinfect it if I had a spray handy, and it actually worked if I put it on the screen. A few men even choose to have their penises removed. Yes, a few men are mentally ill.
Yes, there's other ways to experiment. It's called toys.
Yes. Honestly, if you need to have your penises cut off, you've got other issues that have nothing to do with the penis.
You don't
Or you're
even need
Jewish.
to cut off your penis. Just tourniquet it.
Few men even choose to have the penises removed. Okay, fine. Yes, there's such thing as self-mutilation, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who do that. They're referred to as fucking loonies.
Or Muslims and Jews.
It's not quite the same thing, really. Honestly, when it comes to, I know what you're referring to. You're referring to circumcision, and so long as they're not choosing to do that, then yeah, okay, that's some sort of religious thing. Fine. I don't think anyone is really feeling that uncomfortable with the foreskins in general, though, and I don't really approve. Not as a part of transition in gender identities, but because they are not comfortable with the members. Yeah, that's a mental issue. There's something wrong with their head. It's like wanting their legs lopped off because they feel they're a mermaid. No, that's not sane. They have issues. They should deal with them. But Vice is just going to, encourage them to have irreversible medical procedure.
Ah, so you saw the same movie, you kinky little shit.
Okay.
I don't like what you're referring to. Okay, that's
So
it.
you know
Just
what
that
she's
we're done
referring
here.
to.
We're just going to skip ahead. Woman strangles husband with her buttocks during fight. We've got only 5 minutes remaining. We'll just, address this. Haha, isn't that funny? A woman 45 is facing a murder charge of allegedly strangling her husband with her buttocks. Okay. Strangling isn't the word here. It's smothering. Smothering
I need to
husband
learn how to do that.
with
Well,
her
see-
buttocks.
It
You
would
just need
be
to gain-
strangling if she clenched. If she clenched, it would be strangling.
That would imply from, and that she actually mentioned fit her husband's head up her ass, in which case, yes, clenching would be strangling, but I suspect even then the more relevant term remains smothering.
Look, she could be dummy thick. Maybe that's how the police found her. It was the clap of her ass cheeks alerted them to her position.
Titania O, who weighs more than 100 kilograms, allegedly refused to let go until her partner, Idar, begged for forgiveness, which I imagine has to be awfully hard with over 100 kilograms worth of blubber stuffed into your mouth and nose. The man's daughter said she saw her dad pinned face down on the bed and ran to seek help from the neighbors in the Russian city of Novokuznetsk, according to evidence
Russia,
in the
that makes
case.
too much sense.
A female
Russia.
neighbor came to the home but decided it was a domestic dispute the couple would solve, it was reported. So, any chubby chasers and the 18 or so people watching this, be warned. If your significant other decides to smother you with their ass, no one will come to your aid.
No more hear you
Ah,
scream.
interesting. So you're saying
That
I
said,
could get away with a few murders if I just learned to strangle people with my ass?
Yes.
Yeah, probably, yes. Just
Tell you
have
what,
a good
we'll-
escape plan.
We'll get
You're
you some
fine.
of those. You're gonna need to start doing squats, and we'll get you one of those butt exercise machines.
Hmm.
Soon afterwards, the wife screamed, prompting neighbor to rush and call for help. Paramedics pronounced the common law husband, no less, dead at the scene. Oh no. Oh no. I'm sorry, looking at that face, can you imagine this man wanted to go out any other way? I feel for the daughter.
I'd say he was a bit up here.
Yeah, so would I, because I note that, yeah, maybe she's sitting on his face, but he had like 4 limbs that she couldn't possibly have pinned at the same time. I'm thinking he just said, "This is how I want to go."
You know what?
In any case-
That makes sense. There are some men who want to die because of my boobs. So.
Quite a few.
Well, he did have the theme put back on, by the way. Apparently he filmed a porn video based on it. I don't know if anyone actually saw the damn thing. Sort of Franken dick.
If you like mine or Director Arketer's artwork, then please go to the Redbubble store down below. New artwork will be available in a couple of weeks when an injury is healed. Donate. Follow me on Twitter and on YouTube.
That is very rare dying while doing it. Snoopy has 100, why I suggest this might have been just his choice. Also, yes, indeed. The artwork in the Redbubble store, if made by blowing off steam, goes to Real Miss Steam's funds because life is unfair. artwork they can recognize as being my work, it's usually in 3 dimensions, is something else entirely. Otherwise, bestest salesperson ever. They must be talking about you, Steam. It's a Megan
thank
again.
you.
Which means
some
I
good
should probably
design
play
flair.
it safe. In other news, I will try to have a video out tomorrow. No guarantees. Monday side quest is expected to continue as scheduled, although the end of this month means the end of it for a certain period of time. It's the holiday break coming up. I will, of course, be deeply hurt by this.
Liar.
Until next time, so long as progress continues. Success is inevitable.
We all know you have that primal desire to shake your booty arc.
I refuse.